Good evening, folks. It's Monday, and as you know, I got my guys on here. We got Bryant, we got Ty. One of these days, Aaron will pop in. You never know, right? But there's a little bit of news going on. Brendan Ayuk unfollowed us on Instagram or Instabook or whatever that is, and so didn't Debo do the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Debo did the same thing. Kind of weird, ain't it? But and then there's this guy on Twitter, and folks, the speculation train has no brakes. The guy on X reports, oh, Brandon Ayuk requested a trade per my sources in the 49ers. And it's like, for who? It's like per a bunch of people that have no idea who this guy is because it was total fake news, But yeah, I mean, we got 30 on 30 visits going on, and we've met with one with a Penn State offensive tackle. I think his name is Cody Wallace. I think that's the only was it top 30. It's top 30 visits, right? That's the phrase. So that's the only offensive lineman we've had an official top 30 visit with. Although the combine, pro days, they've met with a lot. We've met with a lot more. Speaking of pro days, we went to Washington. And the first thing that comes to my mind when they talk about Washington, Troy Fontenot. Right? First thing that come to my mind. Yep. They spent a lot of time talking to Rosengarten, their right tackle. Excellent run blocker. Pass coverage,
We've got plenty of those guys. We've been down that road plenty of times.
Oh my goodness.
We gotta switch some things up here. Let's get some guys who can actually protect the quarterback well. All right. Let them be that thing they do well. And in the run game, we can teach them how to do that. We can have them on the sled, pushing things around. We can teach them the road grade. We can help double team players to give them help. But pass pro, you got to be good at it, right? I think we should focus on that first a little bit from now on, especially since we seemingly and finally have found our quarterback of the future. Let's protect him. Right? Yes. Let's make that first on the priority list. Protecting him.
Well, so I was just messing around and I did a mock draft before I went live, on my laptop, lightning fast. It's like, JC Latham actually dropped to me.
Oh, really?
I was like, boop. It's like I'm picking this guy. But at this point, we went to Washington. We met with the guy that's very similar to Mike McGlinchey, and I'm just disappointed. I don't know what else to say. Yeah. Am I supposed to be excited? We met with a guy that's really good at run blocking. Kyle got pass happy in that Green Bay game. He threw it 39 times. So it's like, Kyle, if you're going to get pass happy, you're going to need offensive linemen that can hold up. Unless you're planning on running the ball 39 times and throwing it 18 times, then a guy like that might just work out, right? What do you think, Bryant? What do you think? We go to Washington State. Well, we go to Washington for a pro day, and they end up meeting with a guy that. Now, I'm not saying he's a bad football player. He's a starting right tackle in college, and he's at a good college. But he has like I think, 3rd to 5th round grade on him, depending on what scout you're talking to or looking at or whatever, So it's just interesting. They took the offensive line coach, Chris Forrester, with them, Bryant. They took him.
Well, that just means one or two things. He's a really good guy to take on, a road trip. He knows some good jokes and stuff like that. He's somebody to, know where to take to. When you go to the gas station, he's the guy with the deals. He's like, hey, if we get 2 hot dogs, we get 2 sodas at the same time. Or, maybe they are looking at somebody up there, but maybe they're looking at other people too. They did go to the University of Washington, right? The Huskies.
Yes.
We've looked at their quarterback. As far as us, drafting him, Troy Fontua. He's really good. I can't say his last name.
Fontaine. Fontaine is how I've been pronouncing it.
Rosengarten, he's supposed to be like lower on the draft grades. So for us to take him at 30, 31, I think that would be reaching for us. But me too. I say, numbers and stats don't necessarily matter. You go after the guy you want. But there is a thing about going after somebody too early if you think they're going to be there later. And if they are there later, then you kind of like you could have taken somebody at a different maybe caliber of a player, right? So I'm really interested in hearing that they went to, go see the Huskies because that means they probably got a good chance to look at Devin Culp.
Ooh, yes, that's another player that's up there.
There's
also linebackers. There's all kinds of players that I've actually drafted. Isn't that Olaf Show guy? The linebacker, wasn't he Washington?
Yeah. Washington's got a lot of good players this year.
And they were in the Final Four for a reason.
But
that was
you bring the O-line coach. You bring the O-line coach, though. Are you looking at both the tackles? But then you meet with the one guy, afterwards for an extended amount of time. And we all know the Niners want a certain type. They're looking for an upstanding member of society, someone that will fit in with the team, right?
But they've also shown us that they'll play with people's emotions and they'll talk to people because they're enjoying the conversation, and then they don't go and get that player. So sometimes it's maybe there's one thing that they like about him really well, but then they find something else and they're like, okay, we like you and we don't want to live without you, but we like you a little bit more. And they do it. And then, later on, they'll try to go after you again, or they'll try to make it right, but it doesn't always work out. But yeah, I think a lot of good players up there in Washington. I would imagine to hear them go up there a couple more times.
I honestly think it would be a good thing to go up there. Why not? Cruise on they do have a lot of good football players, but at the same time, you bring Chris Forrester. They have a guy that's a first round grade left tackle, and they're not even talking to him. They're talking to the guy that is probably going to go later in the draft, which we don't know this, right? For all we know, that Rosengarten could get picked 10th by a team. For all we know, we have no idea how the draft's going to play out yet. But so the speaking of, a lot of folks in mock drafts have been taking Kool-Aid McKinstry, right? Yep. And he had to have foot surgery. More than likely going to be starting the season on the non-football injury list. I don't think we're going to draft the guy. We're trying to stay away from people with injury histories at this point, right? Look at all the free agent moves. The guy we traded for from Houston. I think Gross Matos had some sort of injury history, but it hasn't been bad enough to the point where they stayed away from him.
Right.
But in my opinion, our Niners are looking to get guys that are going to be on the field.
Yep.
And if this guy starts the year on the non-football injury list, whenever they bring him back, is he actually going to see the field? You know, are we going to even know what we got out of him until year 2, and we're all screaming to, draft another corner?
Well, that could be the key to it right there. Remember, they did a bunch of free agent signings. Well, they did a few. We also have a few returning guys. So they may view it as, you know what? We were going to redshirt this guy this year anyway. So let's just stash him on the roster for 2025. We'll stash him for next season. We got a quote unquote good player, a good prospect. Let's put it like that. They're all prospects. We got a good prospect that we can have for the following season, because our defensive back room contractually is extremely thin after this season. So those cupboards need to be refilled. So he might be selected just for that purpose, that one reason alone. So you never know.
Yeah. And he could, because of the foot thing, he could actually drop a bit.
Yeah.
Which makes him kind of more appealing as a second round pick than a first to me. Just because it's like you get a guy like this, like Kool-Aid can cover. And in the league right now, how all the rules are favoring the offense and it's just going in that direction. You need a guy that can actually cover, right? Because you're still allowed to check them off the line, but past 5 yards, you can't do that. You got to hands off, look but don't touch, And at this point, Ward's going to be a free agent. I've heard rumors about they're in a contract extension talk with Lenore, which I was wondering, like, are you guys actually going to retain one of these two? Because, Ward's an all-pro. Lenore could be. He really could be. He
could be. He's on the rise. There was
a point in time in the season where he was our best corner.
Exactly.
And then he's also proven that he can do more than just play boundary corner. He moved inside to nickel. And he showed him that he can eat like he's a linebacker.
Yep.
It's like, honestly, and Lenore's younger. So, it would make sense to extend him.
Lenore fits the criteria you want. He's younger, he'll be cheaper, and he's more versatile.
Yes.
So when you look at the two, and I love Mooney Ward, great player, but from a football business standpoint, you say I can only keep one. Who are we going to keep? You're going to keep the guy who's younger, cheaper, and more versatile. It just makes sense. And the 49ers like to take care of their homegrown guys. He was drafted. He's a homegrown guy. So I'm sure they're looking, of the two, they will look to extend him first.
Okay, so this is private or semi-private workouts. Roger Rosengarten, Washington. Sony Vaki, which we've had a top 30 visit, and we visited with this kid a couple times from Utah, running back / safety, which I've been saying if they pick him, could he be our return guy? I honestly think so. Amir Reap from Ohio State / Lincoln University. That's interesting. Christian Haynes, an interior offensive lineman from UConn. I've actually drafted him in mock drafts. Yeah. Eric All. This is reported interest, though. That's reported interest. I wanted to. Okay, school or player pro days.
I like how they put these words on it to like try to give it more emphasis. Reported interest.
Yeah.
If you mention it, it's reported. Like, if they're meeting with someone, they have interests. It's the weirdest thing ever. I love this time of year with the rumors and everything, and how people will just throw out keywords and phrases to try to make things seem greater than what they are.
I mean, wow, we've actually at the Senior Bowl met with Talise Fuaga from Oregon State, and this guy is a right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's played left tackle. We met with Christian Jones from Texas, another offensive tackle. Defensive end, Braden McGregor from Michigan. And this would be the second time we've actually met with this corner from Washington State, Charles Smith Wade.
It's got a good name.
That'd be the second time. But school or player pro days. There's Tariq Owens right there. And I've used a couple different mock draft simulators, just messing around, trying to find him. Where is this kid ranked? It has him listed as a wide receiver, And there's Jordan Morgan, offensive tackle, Arizona. QB, Lane Hatcher, Ball State. Well, we've met with him. There's Caden Wallace right there, but that's in the reported interest. We actually had a top 30 visit with him. Come on now.
Is Rock Ya-Sin really 5'11"?
Yeah.
Yeah? Wow. I thought he was just a tad taller. I thought he was in that Mooney Ward 6'1" range, which is only 2 inches taller, but still.
Well, he could have long arms or something like that.
Well, that's the thing. We know that when you want a cornerback, you want him to have long arms. You want him to be able to reach out, deflect the ball, get PBUs. So, yeah, I just thought Rock was taller than that by a couple of inches.
So, yeah, apparently our trip to Washington, it was more than just Rosengarten. Because they met. This is the Hula Bowl. This says MJL from Washington. That's a defensive lineman. Akeem Dent. I wonder if he has any relation to Richard Dent.
You never know. With all these second and third generation players coming out nowadays, he could be. There's a lot of offsprings and nieces and nephews and such in league.
Yep.
It would not surprise me if he were.
Met with the center, Jack Freeman from Houston at the Hula Bowl. Right tackle specific, Mike Gerald from Findlay. That's a small school, so that'd be like a 5th or 7th round pick, right?
Yeah. This
is all reported by Steph Sanchez, so I believe she's a reliable source.
Yeah, she's reliable.
I do. I believe Steph is reliable.
I'm taking Steph's word over any of those internet yahoos any day.
You know it.
I'm gonna tell you that much right now. Like, now I'm gonna put my money on Steph Sanchez over all of them.
Ooh, we've actually at the East-West Shrine Bowl, we've met with a guy I've drafted a lot in mock drafts, Christian Mahogany from Boston College, the guard. So that could come to fruition. Probably don't, everything has to fall into place. Oh, there it is. Well, we met with Kendon Slovis, the Q quarterback from BYU.
You know what's funny about this meeting thing is we have to remember that we have a scouting department that's full of like regional and local scouts that go out and just watch these players all year long. And I'm sure these scouts have met tons of players, more than what's been quote unquote reported. So they know of these individuals. And I'm sure there's a whole lot of names that are on our radar that are probably being kept under lock and key because we might identify them as a steal, right? And you don't want anyone else to get wind of it because they'd be like, oh man, 49ers looking at this guy. Maybe we should look at him too.
Ooh, Bryant, buddy. At the local pro day, they met with a kicker or two. Dario Longhedo from Arizona State and Matt Merciero from Villanova.
They also met with Owens' son. Terrell Owens was there Wednesday with his son.
He was at the pro
Tariq.
Day. You knew they were going to show up. And Tariq has good size, 6'3", 200, 200 pounds. Built solid, just like his dad. You know, I'm a fan of these bigger receivers.
I wonder if he does sit-ups in his driveway for the reporters.
Yeah, hey.
You got to, right?
Well, first of all, he's got to get some reporters first. You know, he's been the forgotten son in this whole draft process. No one has talked about him up until this pro day. And it's like they only talked about him on that day. Right? You haven't heard a peep since. Like, poor Tariq. So hopefully someone will pick him up.
Well, we'll just have to see how everything pans out. You know, they've met with a lot of players at the local pro day. Holy moly.
You want them to do their due diligence. This is an important draft for, just like we said, future prospects, right?
Yeah.
I can pretty much think that the roster is set.
Dude, I'm looking at the list.
There's no one going to
the
pick up the combine and be
holy crap. They've met with a lot of guys at the combine, including Frank Gore Jr.
Yeah. Like, there's no one that's going to come in and be a starter, right? The roster is set, but we're looking at backups and future prospects here. There's some guys we can stash on the roster. Perfect.
Offensive tackle J.C. Latham. This is the guy they met at the combine.
Yeah.
Oh, they did meet with Luke McCaffrey.
Just like every year. Of all the kids that's out there, he's the one that I think we might definitely draft.
They've met with quite a few offensive tackles. Not so many interior offensive linemen, though. If that don't tell you what, direction that they're thinking right now. Patrick Paul, Houston, Jordan Morgan, Arizona. They met with Amarius Mims, but that guy scares the crap out of me. And if you want to know why, he's only started 8 games in his college career. So that actually scares the crap out of me. They met with Kool-Aid, even though he didn't participate. Theo Johnson, the tight end from Penn State. Ooh, Frank Gore. Javon Foster from Missouri, another offensive tackle. Center Tanner Bortolini from Wisconsin. That was Rohan that reported that one. Gottlieb Aydiz from Maryland, an offensive tackle. Isaiah Adams from Illinois, he's played guard and tackle. Graham Barton, the guard from Duke, he's on this list. I mean, this upcoming draft, this is going to be an interesting saga for us, They have definitely done their due diligence. Like tight end, we got Mason Pline from Furman. I've never heard of the guy. I'm going to have to look. Isaac Rex from BYU. He's a very good run blocker. Decent pass catcher. I know that because he's local to me.
Damien,
But I mean,
want a
I'm
home run
looking
threat type
at the
offensive
list, and
player. Don't we all, Damien? Don't we all, Damien?
Dude, he ain't lying though, and he ain't lying. Well, in the chat, we got like little Spongy popped in to say yo. We got Kenny 49er Culp. What's up, buddy? Wanted to trade and asked for too much.
Oh yeah, he wanted to trade his coffee.
I think it's Brandon Ayuk, not Brandon Bayuk.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Kenny. He came up with that. Kenny came up with that. But Eric Wallace, what's up, buddy? That's a resident Seahawks fan. What's going on, man?
No, stop.
He's good. Yeah, he's a good dude. Tony, better half.
TC,
good evening.
What's up?
Ooh. And yeah, Damien, that's the truth. We do a home run threat would be nice. A guy like, a speedy wide receiver like, Danny Gray or someone that could take the top off the defense and ain't in, permanently enshrined in Kyle's doghouse.
Exactly.
Speaking of permanently enshrined in Kyle's doghouse, Dante Pettis and sold it.
Yep, he's still in there.
Dante Pettis. Steve-O, I want a 5-yard out specialist. Hey, that could actually work out in our offense.
Yeah.
It really could. And I honestly believe this guy will be the Isaac Yadam will be competing for a starting outside job.
Yeah.
Especially with Lenore showing that he can play nickel like a beast, right?
I think it's more
this dude is a special team specialist.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the corner position is more of who's going to be the outside guy on nickel. Because Lenore is just so good, I don't think you take him off the field. Right? So even on base downs, you have him out there on the boundary. And then when we go to nickel, you push him back inside. And then who's that guy they're going to bring in? I think Yodom fits that mold that they really want. Kind of taller CB with the long arms, of course. But I think he's going to be pushing for that spot for sure.
That's what I'm hoping. Yadam, I hope he can, seal up that either that or maybe push like Luter Jr. or Womack.
The young guys, I'm hoping since Sorensen,
right?
Yeah, since Sorensen, he knows these guys. They're not foreign to him, right? He's been around them these past 2 years, or in Luter Jr.'s case, 1 year, but he knows them. So, okay, he'll give them an honest, good look at the position and see what they got, see what they could produce. I mean, the 49ers were high on Luter Jr. last offseason, but then he got injured. And, once that injury set hits to a rookie, it's like they just push you to the side. All right, forget you then and move on. So hopefully this year they take an honest, good look at him. And, yeah, they all foster competition off of each other.
Competition is what it's all about, you know. And look at the offensive lineman we signed. We signed a guy from the Raiders that I don't know anything about.
Nope.
It's kind of disappointing that they didn't. I mean, they did re-sign Feliciano, so maybe him and Burford, put them in a cage, let them figure out who's going to be starting at right guard there. Honestly, I look at Burford like his athleticism, coupled with his arm length and everything else going on, he's better fit to start at right tackle. I don't know why they don't give him a shot over there.
I would think he has the footwork, the quickness for it too. But we spoke to him last season before I think it was before the season started, and he said he was entrenched at guard. They just had him solely working on right guard. So, hey, they see him every day. They got to know more than us. Hopefully, fingers crossed, right? Chris Forrester, you would hope. So, there you go.
Well, and that's the truth, though. They took Chris Forrester, over to Washington to look at Rosengarten, and it's like, man, I'm a little disappointed, just because it's like so you're not going to be trading up and taking that guy, Troy Fontenot. And
well, the funny thing though is every time we get out of like cap hell or draft hell, right? Because we had traded up with the Trey Lance thing and not had first round picks for such a long time. Now we got them, and it's like we don't know what to do with them, and we want to trade up and then lose them for the next couple of years. Let's like I've been saying it, just let the chips fall and let's see who we can get at 31. And I think that's what they're looking at too. And by not setting their sights high for somebody like JC Latham or somebody, really, like maybe the best draft or what, the player in the draft, they're looking at some of these guys later in the rounds saying we might be able to get this guy. So if Rosengard is somebody that they think could fit in, personality and scheme fit, then yeah, it makes sense to take the offensive line, coach up there and have them meet, because if they don't gel, then it's gonna be a long season.
Listen, we gotta think of offensive line for the future also. Like Trent Williams ain't gonna be here forever. Like Brendel ain't gonna be here forever. McKivitz ain't gonna be here forever. Plus, we gotta start looking to upgrade. You always want to upgrade a position, right? And right now, O-line is one that could use an upgrade. We can get by with what we have. But if there's an opportunity for an upgrade, why not take it? If you could get younger and cheaper and it's an upgrade, maybe not this year, maybe next year, a la the Aaron Banks situation, why not do it?
And Aaron Banks, this is his third to fourth year off season. Which typically, it's time to extend them. They're not in talks, right? Or we haven't heard anything anyway.
Well, that's the thing. All his focus has been on Brandon Ayuk, right? But we have a number of players that are on their final contracts, this season, and it's like they're all going under the radar. Aaron Banks is one of them. He's in the final year of his contract. So what are we going to do? Are we going to let him walk like a Lincoln Tomlinson? Well, if we do, who's his replacement? With Lincoln, we had Aaron Banks in the background. They knew they had someone to fill in there. We don't have that right now. So it's either we go out and sign someone in free agency in the after draft free agent market, or we draft one of these young guys to be that replacement. So something's got to be done. So that's why I see they're doing their due diligence on this O-line. And remember, Trent Williams is what, 34 now? Like he's up there. So he can walk away after this season. So as much as we worry about the right side of our offensive line, next season, the left side of our offensive line, which is our strength, could be totally new. So they gotta address this.
That's kind of scary, honestly.
It's very scary. And it's something everyone's focused on BA and his contract. Hashtag pay BA. We have much bigger needs, to be honest with you.
And honestly, I always look at our contracts like, man, we do this wrong. We're gonna sit and negotiate. We're gonna wait till right before training camp, and we're gonna sign. We're gonna wait for all these other guys to get paid and drive the price up, and then we'll sign them. Okay, how does that even make sense? Like right now, I guess Devontae Smith signed a contract with the Eagles. He got $51 million guaranteed. It's like a 3-year, $75 million. So that's $25 million, obviously annually, with 51 guaranteed. So what does that do for Ayuk, right?
Yeah.
So what's he going to be demanding? He's going to be demanding a 4-year contract with $72 million guaranteed. 104 million, 108 million 4-year contract, right? Something in that range. Or are we looking to sign him for 3 years like we did Debo, which I think Ayuk's like a year younger than Debo was when we signed him.
So, yeah, we've seen a trend over the past couple of years with these younger receivers. They all take these short 3-year deals. That seems to be the thing that they want, because they want to just re-up quicker now. So I can see him taking a 3-year deal. But one thing we know is that when one guy gets a contract, the next guy wants to be paid a little bit more. And then the next guy wants to be paid a little bit more than him. They all want to be the highest at some point. So whatever the guy from Philly got, Ayuk's going to want a little bit more.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that they're the better player either. They just want to get paid now. Now it's their time to get paid, so they just want to get paid, and they want to be the top at the time of being signed. And I don't think that's right at all. Just because it's your time to come around, you should be paying the better players, right? Not just because it's your turn now. Oh, I'm going to be the first one in line. I'm getting the highest paid contract for what, a day or two, and then the next guy comes in and does it. I think you should be paid accordingly and fair to what your position's done and what your stats have done. But then people get mad and say, well, because my stats are the way they are, it was because I was blocking or I was doing this. And that's the reason I don't have this many. My numbers would be this if I were doing this and this. And if I was, for somebody like Brandon Ayuk too, he could sit there and say, well, if I was being utilized more, my numbers would be up higher. And yeah, woulda, shoulda, coulda, but how are you being utilized on the team that you currently are on? And what do they value you at? And yeah, you might be able to go and produce somewhere else, but that's what I think is the argument there is, can we get somebody else to come in and do what we get Brandon Ayuk to do? And I think that's the reality of it. Can the Niners really, truly get somebody to come in and do what we get BA to do? Not saying get rid of BA, not telling BA to pack up or anything like that, but ideally, BA, if you got hurt this season, do we have somebody else in the draft or anyone in the league right now we could sign that would fill your shoes? Would we be able to continue to play 49er football without Brandon Ayuk? And I think we can.
I honestly think we can too. This is why we talk to a guy like Tyler Boyd, which isn't Ayuk, right? We have Debo, we have Kittle, but Kittle's getting up there in years, and between the both of them, they always seem to get a little ailment going on. They'll miss a couple games. Ayuk's been rock solid. He's been here for us the whole time, right? So, at this point, I would honestly wouldn't mind signing Ayuk long term. Just knowing that no matter what, a couple years from now, Debo, his contract expires.
2 years.
So, yes, that's exactly it. It's 2 years.
2 more seasons. That's it.
So, and if they structure it properly, then it won't be a problem. We won't be paying 2 wide receivers top money. This is something a lot of people are making a big deal about. But they're always. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. I don't want to pay 2 wide receivers, top wide receiver money. Ugh. Okay, pick one. Who you picking?
Yeah.
And you put a lot of people in the spot like that. They're like, well, we already have Debo under contract. Okay. Did Debo get 1,300 yards receiving last year? And I believe, didn't Ike lead the league in yards per reception? Did he?
Yeah.
I know he led us.
I think
I thought he led the league in yards per reception, like on average.
I think he led. Which one did he miss by the final game of the season? Was it yards per game or yards per reception? He fell off.
It might have been yards per reception. It might have been yards per reception.
He wound up being number 2 because he only played a little bit, and he caught one pass for like short yardage, and that helped lower his number.
But then compare this season's stats against Debo's stats when Debo's contract was up and it was time for him to get paid, and see who had better numbers the prior year. And then you sit there and say, okay, because this is the year BA was supposed to go out and shine out, right? So, yeah, Steve-O knows.
He did, though. He did shine. He did do his thing.
Yep, he did.
Yeah. I think for this offense, though, when you look at all we ask receivers to do in the track record of it, like a receiver doesn't just come in and automatically be good in this offense. It takes them 2 seasons to get it. So when we're talking about replacing Brandon Ayuk, he's not going to be replaced immediately. Whoever we get may not show up until 2026. Right? And be a true replacement for all that Brandon Ayuk does. The route running, the blocking, the receiving, etc. Do we want to wait 2 years? Can we wait? Can we gamble to wait 2 years? See, I think not. I think you lock him in. And David, it's like you said, people do not understand these NFL contracts. They're structured in a way where you don't have to pay a player anything in like their first season. Like if we wanted to, we can say, hey, Brandon Ayuk, you're making the league minimum next season. Right? And then the following season, we'll give you $20 million. It's the way it is.
Well, Bryant and I had Jason Hurley on, a while back.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe he said that we could save $8 million by extending Ayuk.
Yeah, because the way the league
on the salary cap for next year.
The way they always do it is when they extend a player, they lower their salary to help out in that current season. So he's due to make $14 million. Stop saying hashtag pay BA, everybody. We are paying him. I am not a baller. $14 million is a lot of money. So we're paying him $14 million. If we extend him, we can drop that all the way down to like $4 million if we wanted to. We can save so much money by extending him and changing his money for this year. It's the way it works.
But what's good, Beto? Tuning in.
Beto.
And Kenny, after taxes, I can't say it's in the state of California. So this is what I learned about NFL players is when they get their game check, they're getting taxed for wherever they played.
Yeah, because they did work in that state.
Yes.
It's just like if you live in
Tampa Bay,
if you live on the border of one state and like you live in that state, but you actually work in another, you get taxed from that state you work in. That's the way it goes. Right.
And we do play 10 games in California though with the LA Rams. Though.
Yeah.
So, a lot of a lot of taxes do get paid there.
Yeah.
But there are 7 games that aren't getting played in the state of California. So that's a totally different ball game.
Yeah. Like I know the guys were happy.
It's hard to say after taxes. I'd actually I actually have a tax lawyer because mine are complicated. So maybe I'll ask him.
Because you a baller. That's why. Like, I know the guys are happy when we played in Jacksonville last year because Florida has no state tax. So they got a whole bunch of extra money in their check for that game. They're probably
That's
like,
true.
bring on Florida. We can do it again. I'll play here all the time.
I mean, half the reason I use them, well, so Bryant knows this. I own where I live. It's actually a triplex, and I rent the other two. That's what makes it all complicated, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I pay taxes at work just like everybody else, but I pay a little more, to compensate. It all works out in the end, and that's why I have a tax lawyer. Makes it easy on me.
Exactly. Want to make it easy on yourself. You want to make sure they get it right. So, like this coming season, 2024, they actually play 2 games in Florida because they're playing the Dolphins and the Buccaneers. So, hey, that's a little extra money in their pockets there.
But so, other than all the, IU drama and the Lenore extension that has been reported that's in progress, I mean, I'm going to wait to see it before I believe it, right?
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is.
Exactly. Like all this stuff is speculation because we are not in the building on those phone calls talking it out, right? Like I'm pretty sure they are kicking the tires and mulling it around and going through things, but we don't know definitely. And that's what kills me about these people who pay for their blue check marks on social media.
Hey, I do. I like having the blue check mark.
Okay, they pay for let me add something to that. They pay for their blue check mark.
I like
and in their description, they write they're an NFL insider.
Oh, see, I don't do that. I read.
Okay, see, that's the difference. And then they put these things out. They put these things out like it's fact. Like, hey, according to my sources, this is happening.
I think mine says kickers' lives matter. Shout out to Dan
because they do. Kickers need love too.
That's right.
That was my thing when Andy Lee was in the house. I was like, kickers need love too.
Love me some Andy Lee.
Oh yeah.
Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with Andy Lee. I remember that guy when you would let him hit someone, it was like the linebackers coming up and whacking. It was when it comes to punters, I still wouldn't mind I wouldn't have minded having him around till the end of his career. And I don't know if he's actually signed with the team or not. I know he was with Arizona last year.
That's a good question. Yes,
he's been around a long time.
The hashtag dig mean pound when I was growing up too. That was the pound symbol. Let's see.
But so Bryant, what do you think about the fact? So Jake Moody, right? Typically, kickers in their rookie season don't do that great. But Jake Moody actually matched what Robbie Gould did last year, statistics wise, except for he did hit, he hit some long ones, right?
Yeah, but as far as kicks made, matched him.
He did. Yep. So money wise, we're up here, because he's a 3rd round draft pick. We're not paying him much. So money wise, we're up. So what do you think is going to happen this next year? Do you think he's going to improve off his rookie year numbers?
Well, he can get better, but the way the new kickoff's going to be, it's going to be a little hard to see, statistically, is the kickoff's going to be better, but as far as extra points and field goals, I think he's going to get better and better. I think, being a rookie and them trying to ice him and stuff like that, he's going to get more and more comfortable doing that as he goes on. And I think it's good to bring in guys on fan day and pro days and these scouting days and stuff like that to see what they can do too. It keeps him fresh in his head. Anyone can be replaced, but I think he's going to get a lot better. And I don't know, I'm a little bummed with how the new kickoff's going to be, but I'm excited to see what it looks like.
Yeah, forget that. Just concentrate on field goals and extra points.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine.
Field goals and extra points. I think he'll be better. I would still love to see an investment from the team into him and kicking in the stadium. And I will preach this until I'm blue in the face. We have a stadium with tricky wind conditions. I don't see why you have your kicker kicking outside the stadium next door where the wind is totally different. Get him inside the stadium. Let him kick where the wind is, right? If you're playing a primetime game and it's between the hours of 5 p.m. and 8 p.m.
Yeah,
you get him in the building that week and you say, we're going to practice between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. every day so you can see the wind conditions during this time.
But wait, Ty,
let him kick.
Ty, is this going to interrupt their interview? When they're driving around with the Christmas lights and stuff on their neck, and they're asking crazy questions. Is this going to interrupt any of that time? Because I totally hear you. The practice time and him being able to get in there and kick field goals at any given time should be like really, like you don't want to have, a worn out leg or something like that, right? Like a dead leg or something. But he should be in there practicing, like you said, at like a consistent time, between 5 and 8 o'clock. That would be like a typical game day or something like that, especially when it's going to be the game prior. But, if this is going to interfere with any of those, awesome interviews with him with the Christmas lights and them driving around Santa Clara, I am totally out because we can't have that.
I know, right? Can't interrupt 49ers media.
Nope.
Nope. They gotta put things out there for the YouTube channel. It's all about content creation. I got friends on that team. I shouldn't say that. I love you guys.
I like it too. That's what I'm getting about. Like, it's cool to see people out there and do things. But yes, it's also important to see our players get in there and practice when they should be practicing, right?
No, but seriously, like when Robbie Gould came, he made it a point to kick in the stadium, to practice kicking in the stadium because he understood the importance of it. And that's veteran wisdom, right? I get it. But we're talking about a guy who's a rookie, who's now going into just his second season. And you don't let him kick in the stadium? Not until game day? That doesn't compute. Especially when it's a crucial element of the game. We've seen our kickers win games. We've seen them lose games. Like, get them in the building. The win is tricky. Let them kick there. Like that, an investment needs to be made.
Let them sell one, to the left, or look. I've been in that stadium, and I did notice that the wind, was going certain direction, but then it would like swirl a little bit. So the wind is tricky. He really should be kicking in the stadium.
Yeah. You have him kick next door all week long and then bring him in the stadium where the wind is totally different. And you're like, hey, just go warm up. You'll get used to it. Nah. Get him kicking in the stadium during the week instead of next door. You can do it during the same practice time if you want to. So it doesn't mess up anyone's schedule. But at least he's learning the winds. He's getting used to it. And he's now a true weapon for us out there.
Hold on. Beto says, "Hey, birthday girl, is it Jess's birthday?"
Jess's birthday was yesterday.
Oh, and I missed it. Happy belated birthday, Jess.
Happy birthday, Jess. Woohoo!
Yep, forever 29. Yeah, that's
Yep.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. But you know, so we're at a weird point of the off season. Like, what does some people call this the dead zone? I don't call it the dead zone because there's always something going on. You know, we're the 49ers. There's always some speculation running rampant.
Well, that's why they call it the dead zone, because there's really like nothing happening. There's things happening behind the scenes, but there's nothing up front. So they're like it's dead. There's nothing really happening, and that's why you get these yahoos who come out of nowhere making stuff up.
Well, we have until the draft before it completely dies. And then it will die. And then
the draft is in 13 days now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Less than 2 weeks.
And yeah, but after the draft, think about this, right? So after the draft, well, it'll just start up right again because we drafted these certain players, and now we need to sign. There's these guys left over, free agents, and that's also when things will get interesting too, though, because if you think about it, that's like what, wave 3 of free agency.
Yeah, it's really wave 2. Is the first wave, which is before.
It's time to get some guys on the cheap.
Yeah, this is where you get the real cheap deals, though. The after draft guys, and you see them doing things too. It's going to be talking points, and people are going to make stuff up because you know what's going to happen. We're going to draft a player, or we sign a player later on, and then it's going to be, what does that mean? They drafted a left tackle. What does that mean for Trent Williams? Are they going to possibly cut Trent Williams now? Like, someone will say that. You know they will, right? Oh my God, they picked up a quarterback. What does this mean for Brock Purdy? Someone will say that just to have something to say, just to say anything, instead of being like, yeah, he's a depth piece, he's a tryout. No, it's terrible. This time of year is kind of terrible.
Well, I happen to know a guy that in mock drafts, he drafts the QB with that first 30 with the 31st overall.
Oh, pick. That's what I'm talking about. Shake it up,
guy.
Shake it up. That guy's a genius. Put it out there. Make him a cup. If anybody out there who knows how to make cups, say
Bryant, you got to make yourself a cup, buddy.
Draft genius.
Well, okay, think about it. Like, if some really special quarterback was to be there at 31, are we crazy if we pass up on him? I mean, we have Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy could get hurt, right? And right now our team is pretty much stacked. We have only a few pieces that we right now really need to replace. We're not going to take Kool-Aid because of his foot injury. We're going to probably go after somebody later in the rounds to, fill that void. We're signing all these players to 1 year, 2 year deals. So I imagine we're going to do that again next season. So we are gearing up to sign our quarterback to the future or a quarterback to the future. But if we reset our quarterback again, it almost seems like we get that 4-year window again. So I'm not saying I'm not saying do that, but it could, stranger things have happened, so
you never know.
I guess I'm crazy.
Well, it is big. It is going to be the time next offseason when they're going to be, doing the contract negotiation with Brock Purdy. But I highly doubt he's the type of guy to unfollow us on Instagram, and
that seems to be a wide receiver thing.
It is. It is a wide receiver thing. It is.
So dumb. And who cares?
Oh, yeah. But we'll see what happens with Ayuk.
Yeah,
it's not news until something actually happens, folks.
Exactly.
Draft is 13 days away. If they plan on trading them, that'd be the day to do it. but I don't think that's the plan.
I don't think it's the plan at all.
Per his agent, that's actually the source on that one.
That's the people who want clicks and views plan. That's their plan.
Mm-hmm.
John Lynch said, we want him here, and we're talking to work it out. See, Kenny Culp wants those clicks and views.
Kenny Bayig.
Right? He wants those clicks and views, so he's got to put it out there. But 49ers don't. So there you go.
Oh, man. But, all right, well, you guys got anything else to say? Anything you want to finish up with?
Ignore the trolls. That's it.
Yes, the speculation train has no brakes, folks.
None.
It's not news unless the 49ers are reporting it.
None.
That's how I roll.
You know what's funny? And that's true. Adam Schefter, break this out. To get clicks and views, to get mentions, to be seen, you got to mention the 49ers. Adam Schefter today reported, it was already out there, but he reported it, that the Colts extended DeForest Buckner. In his reporting, he made sure to put in that the 49ers traded him to the Colts years ago. Why? Just to get the 49ers name in that report so that it could help trend. That's the game that's played.
Context. Gotta have those context clues.
Yeah. That's the game that's played. 49ers trending. Let me throw them in there. Even though it had nothing to do with this extension right now. Let me throw them in there.
Yeah, so folks, don't forget to tune into East Coast Red and Gold on Wednesday.
5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
My God, I'm putting myself in the wrong time zone.
And then you're gonna have Ty, Jess, Bex, and Maddie. I don't know if do you guys have a guest this week?
No guests thus far. But
No
you never know.
So far?
Jess tends to pull them out of her hat and be like,
sweet.
Hey, all of a sudden we got the Kittles on this week. I'm like, great.
So she's a magician. Some of these guests she gets, it's like, it's amazing. It really is. It's amazing. But don't forget to tune in trivia on my channel Wednesday. We're trying to plow through a 500 question book before training camp. So that'll be Wednesday, 7 p.m. PST. Friday night show we'll start on this guy's channel over here. Bryant's at 7, and then we'll roll into mine after a little intermission and break.
Bryant's channel.
That
guy.
Yep.
Hey,
of course, coffee talk every Saturday and Sunday morning on Bryant. Sundays we dual stream on mine. And the last of the mock drafts episodes, episode 8, which I was actually looking at a lot of info on, who we could possibly draft and what could actually happen. So this is something, that I'm going to be applying that info on this upcoming draft.
You mean you did research and you're going to actually apply it?
Now, I don't even know who you are believe.
Anymore.
Now, we might actually take a player or two have drafted. You never know. Last year, I got lucky and, I took D. Winters, but that was it. That was the only player I took in any of the mock drafts I did on. Okay. I didn't do it on YouTube. I just did it for fun.
Right.
But that was the only player that we took that I ended up mocking. So, like I said, folks, it's just a mock draft. It ain't reality. We don't know how the chips are going to fall. Mm-hmm. We don't know what team's going to take a guy that has a 4th or 5th round grade in the first round, because this type of stuff happens every year.
Teams reach.
Yep.
They reach. They see something.
They do. They do.
It happens.
Ought to be madness. And me and Bryant, we're going to be doing some draft coverage. We're going to be.
Hi, you're more than welcome to join. Hope to see you in between sometime during that time as well. And be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're we're giving the invite to all our friends, all the people we make content with, all the people, just people are allowed to roll in and out. They don't have to stay for the whole draft. So it's going to be, we're going to have all kinds of mystery guests going on.
Very cool.
Yep. And Kenny Culp.
I like mystery guests. It's a mystery to me too, because I don't even know who's coming.
Yeah. Bryant, did you just say we're going to have all our friends and Kenny Culp? Did you just say that?
Well, look at his next comment. Bring up his next comment.
You can be disowned though.
Vin Diesel. Oh, I don't have friends. I have family.
There you go. Now, Kenny, David, and me, we're going to try to all. It's not simul stream. It's I don't know, channels.
TriCast.
TriCast. Yeah, TriCast.
There we go. We can call it that.
I like it. Right. We'll make work to that, and so we'll bring in other people and have fun and try to do our best Mel Kiper impersonations. So I hope to see you guys all there.
All right.
Yeah, for sure.
Try my stream.
Hey, everybody. You all have a good night. We'll see you next time. We're going to be on Ty's channel next week, right?
That's good.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Stay Faithful podcast next week, next Monday. Please pull up. And it's always Go Niners and F all 31 other teams, as Corey Davis would say.